Thank you very much, CPI, for the opportunity. It's a really tough act to follow, and I hope you guys will forgive me. This is actually the first time I'm presenting something like this, so a new experience for me. But when I was actually first asked to do this, and you go down the journey of figuring out why you did what you did for your business, do you actually realize there is an element of diversification in that? And sometimes it's planned, it's unplanned, sometimes it's related to your business, sometimes it's unrelated. So I really want to go and take you through that journey of what we did as a family, what my background is, and where we are today and how we sort of got there. So first I want to start with a photo, and I think it really resonates with what people have said earlier. This is me as a young boy, about 3 years old, and I think this is sort of the ethos we sort of apply, and I have been applying through my time in the company. It's me trying to think about my end goal, what I actually want to do. And at this point in time, I'm trying to race my neighbor's race car at our family's house in Kenya, where I grew up. And we come from a family of a fairly successful businessman. My father is a self-made man. He's done very well for himself, of a variety of different businesses, but he's actually really built certain things into what he has taught me and my siblings. And really, the big picture is very important here, because at that point in time, at that age, all I wanted to do was get into my neighbor's car and drive it as fast as I could, but how do I get there was the question. So when we think about the world today, we have to ask ourselves, why do we do what we do? What is our purpose for being here? You know, what business problem is our company solving for the wider world? And I think this is one of the key elements when we're trying to figure out how do we actually change an industry, add value to our customers, and bring something else onto the table. So if anything, we were to leave today, I would like to leave with 3 topics, and I'll go through these over the next few minutes. It's really about applying a non-traditional thinking to a very traditional industry. Logistics is known to be very boring, very old, but it's really about how you think about it. Second is really about building very big strategic partnerships that help you to collaborate and expand your reach from that angle. And lastly, like I mentioned earlier, is always having the big picture in mind. Know exactly what you want to achieve. The path may be murky, but then you want to be able to create that as you go along. So a little bit about our company. Our company is called RSA Logistics. We started, and I co-founded it with my father in 2009. It was a very difficult time to start a business. Not only were we a business that nobody had heard of, we started it in Dubai South, formerly known as Dubai World Central, and we were the first company to start there. So not only did nobody know who we were as a company, nobody knew where we were either. So it was a very difficult time, and on top of that, probably the toughest economic times that Dubai faced for trade and logistics as well. But we went on, and the first service we actually started is called what we call contract logistics, and more simply known as warehousing, inventory management, and it's something we sort of really excelled at, and today we call as our core of our business. But we sort of had to make sure we diversified as we went along, and I'll come across that. So we went into road freight, sea freight, air freight, which is a natural progression in the logistics field, and then we actually had to choose our target markets and segments of what that meant to us and how we were able to serve something special for them. So we went after the petrochemicals, we went after the FMCG and manufacturing companies, power generation companies, finished vehicle logistics, and now we're going into the F&B space. And I'll come along all the stories of why we chose those as we go along. So the other question was that we could have continued to scale our company with, this is our most vanilla product that we have, the most less engineered, simple warehousing, but to a very, very high standard in terms of what our customers require. The question was, at that point in time, do we continue to do this the way we want to do it for the next 10 years, or have all our eggs in one basket, so to speak? And that's where the element of diversification comes in, where do you want to only serve one industry for the rest of your time? Do you want to then make sure you have different elements that you spread your risk against? And that's the sort of questions we asked ourselves, and that enabled us to really come up with our plan as we went along. So along that journey as well, some of my father's businesses as well that he had started was that we had a lot of non-related diversification in let's say what we do. We have agriculture farming that we do in Kenya. We have low-income housing estates that we do in East Africa. We started a software company for people with speech therapy impediments. We started food trading. Some of these were extremely successful, some of them are not so successful. And there are very, very clear learnings from those. The ones that we had absolute correct focus on in terms of the right management team, the right strategic objective, and knowing what our core purpose was for that company were successful. Other ones were not. They were just done on the side. We thought they would sort of survive on their own. And it's very easy just to hire somebody and tell them to go. But they need guidance, they need control, they need the support and resources to be able to do that. I think that's what happened when we did not have on our, let's say, less successful ventures. And that's on the non-related diversification. So now when it comes to our related diversification, it's been actually a very exciting journey and something that I've been personally very involved in. So in 2011, after we got over the major hurdle of the global financial crisis and actually, Dubai sort of started recovering, we found that many of our customers wanted transportation and wanted visibility of information. They weren't able to get it because you can imagine if a driver was out in the field delivering something and he had a problem, he would call our operations team, who would tell our customer service team, who would tell our customer service team, who would then tell their customer in the end. So you can imagine the amount of noise pollution and inefficiencies in that system. So what we did was we created a very simple mobile app that basically put all our data into our driver's hands, and he went to every place and he said delivered, not delivered, or a problem. And that we just put a big screen up in our customer service office, and they were able to see exactly what's going on. Very, very simple, but actually enabled us to create a whole different business unit when it came to the retail distribution and final mile delivery, and something we continue to innovate on today. One of the key elements that we saw was very underserved in the market here was the petrochemical industry. So in 2013, we joined hands and created a new company called RSA Talke. It's a 50-50 joint venture between RSA Logistics and the Talke Group from Germany for only the petrochemical sector. And our objective here was to really raise the bar at which petrochemicals and chemicals were served with their logistics needs in the UAE. And in 3 short years, we've actually opened our 3rd facility, which is this photo, just last week, 22nd of May, in Jebel Ali, for completing our chemical service portfolio from that angle. So again, this is the collaborative element. We brought in expertise from outside to help us understand how to engineer, operate, because chemicals can be very, very dangerous, but we wanted to upgrade the standards of safety and sustainability when it came to that. From that perspective, and that business has been running very, very successfully. So we traditionally have been a very heavily asset-focused organization. We built all our facilities ourselves. And obviously there is a limit to how much you can do with that purely from the perspective of capital expenditure. We know that for the next 10 years we cannot keep doing what we're doing now at the same rate and the same pace. So how do we now take our service that we have mastered in terms of the actual service we offer to our customers and take it to them in a less capex manner? So we created something called on-site logistics, which is basically taking our people, our processes, and our technology to our customer's doorstep. So many of you today might actually have a warehousing facility that you've already invested in the space, you've already invested in the storage system, and you've invested in the machinery, but you don't know how exactly to operate it. So we come in and say, we'll provide our people, process, technology, and give you a business-to-business guarantee on what that facility should be able to do in terms of inventory management, in terms of complete control of the facility. So rather than having one person accountable, there's another business that's accountable to you from that angle. And we've seen great success with this, and we only started this under a year ago. Finally, when I was talking earlier about our F&B sector, we created a new company which we're actually launching next month, and this is the first time anybody's hearing about it. It's called RSA Cold Chain. We call it RCC for short. And now we feel that there's a tremendous amount of, let's say, lack of quality when it comes to the cold storage capability for food and pharmaceuticals that's available in the market here, and in particular for the final mile delivery as well. So our objective is here to show that we don't necessarily have to go outside of logistics to diversify and create a very sustainable business, but we're creating one now that is going after the food market, but in a very, very sustainable way, but there's a core purpose behind what that is doing. So this should be ready in March next year, and we're very, very excited about it, what we're doing there. So if we bring it all in together, so 2009 we started, 2011 we started our transportation with our technology base, chemical logistics in 2013, on-site logistics in 2015 September. Next month we'll be launching our cold chain facilities. So what does that actually mean, right? What's next for us? And I think that's what really sums up what I showed earlier on when it comes to our 3 key takeaways from this, which I would like to bring up. Okay, there we go. Is about we applied a very non-traditional thinking to a traditional industry. It's not much has changed in Jebel Ali for the last let's say 20 odd years, when how logistics has been done, how it has been applied, what industry problems are being solved. And we think we've been doing a good job in our short career of seven years. And the next part is we really believe in partnerships. A lot of what we do is with partnerships. We have a ton of partnerships lined up for the next 2 years, which will come on and make us a lot more, let's say, able to bring value to our customer base in a much more economical fashion and a much more integrated fashion. And really it's about the big picture. And as, let's say, somebody in my position who's going after a very, very traditional industry, getting the right advisors, getting the right mentorship around you has really helped me take that forward from that angle. But we've stuck to our core. We've left a lot of the non-related diversification, but now try to diversify within the related industry. So with that, I would like to say thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to help answer them. Thank you.